was a warm welcome, right? That was the ugly scene back in 2016 when conservative Ben Shapiro showed up to speak at Cal State LA. Tonight, he is once again at the center of a debate over free speech on our college campuses. This time, it's at UC Berkeley, where conservatives say administrators were trying to block an event featuring him later this year. It's a charge that the school is denying. Ben Shapiro joins us now, editor-in-chief of Daily Wire. Ben, good to see you. Welcome back to the program. So what's the latest? Under what pretense were they suggesting that it would be just impossible, unfortunately, for you to come speak on campus?
So with 10 weeks advance, the College Republicans and Young America's Foundation let Berkeley know that they wanted me to come on September 14th. So I spoke, by the way, at Berkeley last year, no problem. We did it with like 3 weeks in advance, no protesters, nothing. This time they returned back an email and they said, well, you know, that's not a good time. It's not a good date. All of those venues are booked. They wouldn't explain why the venues are booked or who had booked the venues. They suggested that we would have to jump through about 99 different hoops in order to book the event. They actually said that they have to caution there exists the possibility that the security review will result in recommendations from UCPD that would preclude the use of some of these venues and might rule out certain hours. They didn't actually provide a list of alternative dates, times, venues that would actually work. So after a bit of public pressure, they're now saying, and I'm glad to hear this, that they're going to facilitate the event. They'll even cover the event fees. They have not communicated that, as far as I'm aware, to either the College Republicans or to Young America's Foundation. They sort of did the same thing with Ann Coulter earlier this year. They said that Ann Coulter could come speak, they would facilitate it, and then they proceeded to mess around with the time and date and make it nearly impossible for her to speak, changing venue over and over until the thing was canceled.
So you don't really know at this point what's going to end up happening, although the indications that you're getting and that we are seeing are that they're going to, you know, be open arms. They're going to allow this to happen, and that they're encouraging it. What's your sense of where the pressure comes from? Is it from student groups on campus? Is it from faculty groups on campus?
I think some of it is student groups. I think some of it is outside agitators. What we've been seeing at Berkeley particularly is outside agitators, Antifa, and the heckler's veto, which is a bunch of rioters basically coming in, creating a security threat, and then the administration using that as an excuse not to hold the event, saying that it costs too much money to stop all of this. We don't want to be arresting students. They did this with Milo Yiannopoulos. They did this, obviously, earlier this year with Ann Coulter. That's a pretty dangerous proceeding. When you start canceling events because you're afraid of the security cost, all that's doing is really incentivizing people to get violent if they want to shut other folks down.
Is it your sense, I mean, we certainly talk about this issue a lot on this program, but, you know, is it your sense that there is pressure pushing back against this and that campuses are becoming more aware that they do need to allow free speech, that they need to encourage civilized conversation and debate over political thought?
I do think that there is a bit of a backlash. I mean, you've even seen people like Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren saying that these universities need to open up a little bit. But on practical grounds, I think Democrats need to do more. People on the left need to do more. Dianne Feinstein, my senator from out here in California, she said she's seen no evidence at all that there's been any sort of systematic bias at UC Berkeley against conservatives, which is bizarre given the tape that we've seen from UC Berkeley over the last year or so. I had a very open call for her. If she wants to actually show that she doesn't think there's such systemic bias, then she should push her fellow legislators in California, all Democrats, by the way, to actually sanction students who engage in violence in order to prevent free speech.